Hi guys, welcome to Design 101 and today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about rendering in Lumion before you start rendering your first images. So first of all, I want you to set up your model. In this case, I'm making an underpass, so I'm going to use the cut tool from utility library. This tool allows you to handle all kinds of underground construction without having to change the landscape in the software. So you can just apply the cut tool and all the underground surfaces will be visible to your model and you won't even need to change the landscape. As you can see, the underpass is now visible under the cut tool area. So what I'm going to do next is just apply some models like transportation, utility vehicles and some street lights. Then I'm just going to change some materials and my model will be ready to render.
We need a beat.
Now to enter render mode, I want you to click on the camera icon on the right side. After that you will see this window. The controls are as same as in the build mode, but you can make fine adjustment with the middle mouse button. The next thing you would want to do is apply effects to your renders. Now Lumion offers some presets that you can choose from custom styles. Just click on the custom styles button and you will see some of the presets like realistic, watercolor, etc. You can fine tune any effect under the effects tab. Just click on the individual effect and you will see certain settings that you can tweak to change some of the particular things about that particular effect. To add more effects, you just need to click on the effects button and you get to choose from a wide menu of effects that range from sun, weather, artistic and animation. Now you can mess around all kinds of effects all day long, and the more you explore, the better you will get at rendering objects. Now I want you to play as much as you can with all these effects to find the perfect effect for your particular model. You can always load effects that you created for some other project. All you need to do is go to menu, then go on load effect. All you need to do is find the file of effects that you saved previously and just click on apply effect. Once the effects are applied, what you need to do is just change the sun direction and you will be ready to render. To see what the render is actually going to look like, it is a good habit to click on the viewport to make sure that the render is going to look similar to what you have in mind. To actually render the image, what you need to do is click on the green button on the right side. Then it loads the screen where you get certain resolution options. I'm going to go with the desktop option, which renders a 1080p image of the particular frame you have selected. Now Lumion also offers some other kinds of maps to go with the particular image that range from material ID map to normal maps that you can use for post production, but we don't need those, so I'm just going to render it without any of those particular maps. The next thing to keep in mind is going to be load times. Now load times might not seem much when rendering images, but it is a big deal when rendering animations. So what I want you to do is look at the kind of effects that you are applying, because different effects have different impact on the load time. With my presets, it took me 46 seconds to render the first image. Then I adjusted some of the effects like hyperlight and you can see the difference it had on the load times. Switching off the hyperlight option didn't change the render quality much, but had a little bit of an impact on the render time, as the image now rendered in just 37 seconds. But turning off reflections and the skylight had an impact on the quality of the rendered image. Now it did reduce the render time by quite a lot, as the image now rendered in a much less time, but the image didn't look very good. Now, the difference of mere seconds might not seem much, but when you are rendering hour-long clips, it will have a very huge impact on the render times. This is why I want you to choose your effects wisely, as they have a real impact on the amount of time you are spending on these renders. Now, if you want to render really realistic images, then you can go for as much effects as you want, but if you are rendering a real quick walkthrough, you are going to choose much more simpler effects. Lumion also allows you to render all your images at once. All you need to do is create multiple frames and then go to photo set mode and render them all. Following the same steps, I rendered some more images. Now let's take a look at what those buttons in the viewport actually do. So you will see that there's a set eye level button. Now if you click at that button, what it's going to do is going to bring camera to a human eye level, which is 1.6 meter from the particular surface, whatever surface the camera is looming over. You will also find two arrows on the side. Now you can adjust the height of the camera with those arrows with fine precision. Then there is another button on the left side, which is to set the camera level horizontally straight. Now when you click on that button, what it's going to do is going to set your human eye perspective straight towards any objective in a horizontal line. These buttons are actually very helpful because they help you render from a perspective of a human, which is the way our brains are wired to look at things. So if you are rendering a building or any kind of image, what I want you to do is try to focus more on human perspective images, because that's going to make your images look more photorealistic. In this series, we have talked a lot about photorealism. In our previous video, I talked about how photorealism is affected by surface imperfections and imperfections in general. Now we did all that. The next thing you want to do is focus on how humans actually view things. The next thing that you want to keep in mind for photorealism is the effects that you are using. Lumion 10 has introduced HDRs, that are basically the skies, the real sky option that they have introduced, which uses actual photos of skies to render your images with much better precision. Now this creates a better illusion of ray traced images. The same way you can use other effects like reflectivity, lens flare, etc. to create much more photorealistic image. The last thing you are going to need to keep in mind is going to be the focal length of camera. Now, just like in real life, a high focal length will give you a zoomed in perspective, while a low focal length will give you a wide angle length.
We need a beat.
Now, if you want to save these effects you have just created, all you need to do is go to menu, then file, and click on save effects. Now you can save these effects for later use. Now when you are working in a later project, all you need to do is go load effects and locate the effects, and you are ready to render. This is all you need to know about rendering in daytime. Now I'm going to show you the things you need to know about rendering your models in a night environment. For our night renders, I have set up a house, I have changed all the materials, set up the lights we are going to need for the renders. There is a 3-point lighting setup that we use in CG to render all our images. It includes a key light, a fill light, and a backlight. The key light is an individual light source of high intensity that is used to light up the whole scene. In our case, it is going to be the spotlights that have been installed in the balconies. Now, these spotlights create a problem by creating dark spots in certain spaces. There comes the role of fill light. Now, the fill light is used in opposite direction, which is going to be the two lights I have installed on the roadside facing the bungalow. Now, these are going to be used to light up the dark spots and reduce the darkness. Then there is the third kind of light, which is the backlight. I have used omni lights and fill lights inside the windows and different rooms of the house to give a lighting effect to the interiors, creating a backlit environment. Now, I could have easily replaced the spotlights that I used for fill lighting on the roads with area lights. Now, area lights would have created softer shadows, whereas spotlights create hard shadows. So I needed harsh shadows for this particular project. That's why I used spotlights as fill lights. That's basically all you need to know about lighting in the dark. Now, all you need to do is go to the render tab, set up some effects, like I set up some reflection planes for my house, and then my house was ready to render. I rendered some images, then changed the materials of the house to give some alternate material options to the client, and rendered some more images. There you go. Now, that's basically all you need to know about rendering, and now you are ready to render both in artificial as well as natural lighting conditions in Lumion. As always, thanks for watching. You made it this far. I got a bonus for you. Now, the bonus is that I'm going to upload the particular effects I was using in this video. Now, this is the render preset I created, and it renders really photorealistic images. Now, to get the particular render effects for Lumion 10, all you need to do is follow me on IG. I'll put a link in the description of my IG account.